Odysseus was a great hero from Ithaca, an island in ancient Greece. After fighting for 10 years in the Trojan War, he wanted to return home. His wife, Penelope, and his son, Telemachus, were waiting for him. But the journey home was full of danger. The gods decided to test him. His return took 10 more years. Each time he thought he was close, something went wrong. But Odysseus was smart and brave, always finding a way to survive and move forward. On his way back home, Odysseus and his men came to the island of the lotus cedars. The people there gave them a strange fruit to eat. When the men ate it, they forgot about home. They just wanted to stay on the island forever. But Odysseus knew they had to leave. He forced his men to get back on the ship, even though they didn't want to. Odysseus knew that if they stayed, they would never see Ithaca again. They left the island and continued their journey. The next island was even more dangerous. It was the land of the Cyclops, giant creatures with one eye in the middle of their heads. Odysseus and his men were trapped in the cave of a Cyclops named Polyphemus. Polyphemus ate some of the men. Odysseus came up with a plan. He gave the Cyclops wine to make him sleepy. Then, he told the Cyclops his name was Nobody. When Polyphemus fell asleep, Odysseus and his men blinded him and escaped the cave by hiding under the sheep. As Odysseus and his men sailed away, Polyphemus called out to his father, Poseidon, the god of the sea. He asked Poseidon to punish Odysseus. Poseidon, angry, sent storms and huge waves to make Odysseus's journey harder. Odysseus and his men were thrown far off course. They reached the island of Aeolus, the god of the winds. Aeolus gave Odysseus a bag with all the winds except one, the west wind, which would take them home. Odysseus thought he was close to Ithaca at last. Odysseus's men, however, were curious about the bag. They thought it was full of treasure. While Odysseus slept, they opened it. The winds escaped and blew the ship far away from Ithaca. Odysseus woke up and saw that all his hard work was lost. They ended up on the island of the Laestrygonians, a group of giant cannibals. The giants attacked, and only one of Odysseus's ships escaped. Odysseus and his remaining men sailed away quickly, fearing more danger. Odysseus and his men reached the island of Circe, a powerful witch. She invited them to a meal, but her food was magic. It turned Odysseus's men into pigs. Only Odysseus was safe, thanks to a magic herb he had been given by the god Hermes. Odysseus confronted Circe and asked her to turn his men back into humans. She agreed. The men stayed on Circe's island for a year, resting and recovering. But eventually, Odysseus knew it was time to continue his journey home. Before Odysseus left, Circe warned him about the sirens. The sirens were dangerous creatures. Their singing was so beautiful that it made sailors forget everything and crash their ships into the rocks. Circe told Odysseus to fill his men's ears with beeswax so they couldn't hear the song. Odysseus, however, wanted to hear it. He told his men to tie him to the ship's mast. As they sailed past the sirens, Odysseus heard their song but couldn't break free. His men sailed on safely. After escaping the sirens, Odysseus and his men faced another deadly challenge, the strait between Scylla and Charybdis. Scylla was a terrible monster with 6 heads, and Charybdis was a dangerous whirlpool that could swallow entire ships. Odysseus knew he couldn't avoid both dangers. He decided to sail closer to Scylla, losing 6 men to the monster. It was a hard decision, but Odysseus knew it was the only way to survive. They continued on their way, mourning their lost friends. Next, they reached the island of the sun god, Helios. Circe had warned them not to touch Helios's sacred cattle. But Odysseus's men were hungry and tired. While Odysseus was asleep, they killed some of the cattle for food. Helios was very angry. He asked Zeus, the king of the gods, to punish them. Zeus sent a great storm that destroyed Odysseus's ship. All of Odysseus's men drowned. Only Odysseus survived, clinging to a piece of wood. He drifted in the sea, alone and lost. Odysseus washed up on the island of Ogygia, where the beautiful nymph Calypso lived. Calypso fell in love with Odysseus and kept him on her island for 7 years. Although she treated him well, Odysseus was not happy. He wanted to return to Ithaca. Finally, the gods felt sorry for him. Zeus sent Hermes to tell Calypso to let Odysseus go. Calypso agreed, but she was sad to see him leave. Odysseus built a small raft and sailed away, once again hoping to reach his home. As Odysseus sailed away from Calypso's island, Poseidon sent another storm. Odysseus's raft was destroyed, and he was thrown into the sea. But the goddess Athena, who had always helped Odysseus, saved him. She guided him to the island of the Phaeacians. The Phaeacians were kind people. They found Odysseus on the beach and took him to their king. Odysseus told them about his long journey and all the challenges he had faced. The Phaeacians decided to help him. The Phaeacians gave Odysseus a ship and took him back to Ithaca. After 20 long years, Odysseus finally arrived home. But he didn't go straight to his palace. Athena disguised him as an old beggar. Odysseus wanted to see what was happening at home before revealing himself. His palace was full of suitors, men who wanted to marry Penelope. They thought Odysseus was dead. They were rude and greedy, eating all the food and drinking all the wine. Odysseus watched them in silence. Odysseus first went to the home of his old servant, Eumaeus. Eumaeus had always been loyal to Odysseus. Even though Odysseus was disguised as a beggar, Eumaeus treated him kindly. While he was there, Odysseus's son, Telemachus, returned from a journey. Athena told Odysseus to reveal his true identity to his son. Telemachus was shocked and happy to see his father after so many years. Together, they made a plan to get rid of the suitors and take back their home. Disguised as a beggar, Odysseus went to his palace. The suitors laughed at him and treated him badly. They had no idea that the beggar was really the king. Only one person recognized him, his old dog, Argos. Argos was weak and old, but when he saw Odysseus, his tail wagged. He died soon after, happy to see his master one last time. Penelope, still waiting for her husband, didn't recognize Odysseus. She thought he was just another beggar. But she would soon learn the truth. Penelope decided to hold a contest. She would marry the man who could string Odysseus's great bow and shoot an arrow through 12 axe heads. None of the suitors could do it. Then, the beggar asked for a turn. The suitors laughed, but Penelope let him try. To everyone's surprise, the beggar easily strung the bow and made the shot. Then, Odysseus revealed himself. The suitors were shocked and scared. With the help of Telemachus, Odysseus fought and killed all the suitors. After Odysseus had revealed himself, he faced one final test from Penelope. She wanted to ensure it was truly him. Penelope told the servants to move their bed outside the room. Odysseus quickly responded that the bed couldn't be moved because he had built it from a living tree. Only he knew the secret. When Penelope heard this, she was convinced that the man before her was indeed her husband. Finally, after all those years, they were reunited, happy to be together again. Even though Odysseus was home, not everything was peaceful in Ithaca. The families of the suitors who had been killed were angry. They wanted revenge. They gathered to attack Odysseus and his family. But before a battle could begin, the goddess Athena intervened. She brought peace to Ithaca by convincing both sides to stop fighting. Odysseus, with the help of the gods, finally restored order to his kingdom. The long years of war and travel were over, and peace returned to the land. Odysseus was now able to enjoy his life with Penelope and Telemachus. The journey had been long and difficult, full of danger and loss. But Odysseus had never given up. His cleverness, bravery, and determination helped him overcome every challenge. He learned many lessons along the way, about himself, his family, and the world. Although he had faced many hardships, in the end, Odysseus's greatest joy was returning home. His adventures would be remembered for generations to come. The story of Odysseus teaches us many important lessons. One is that even when the journey seems impossible, we should never give up. Odysseus faced gods, monsters, and temptations, but he always found a way to keep going. His loyalty to his family and his cleverness helped him survive. The Odyssey also shows that sometimes, the hardest battles are fought not with strength, but with wisdom. Odysseus's story has inspired people for thousands of years and continues to do so today.